Hello, this is Gustav Schlitt, and I won't take much of your time, but I do have something important to tell you. A special hello to all my friends and family out there, by the way. Now, to tell you that important thing, I do have to make an announcement. 1 year ago, almost now, I became a Christian. And many of you might be confused and puzzled and say like, what? Why? And I myself barely understand it because I was very much a skeptic of Christianity and many of its concepts. But yet here I am. So this video is going to be my path to Christianity explained, that you may understand this choice. My mom and my dad, they separated when I was about 6 years old. And they had very different beliefs. My mom was strongly against religion, and my dad was very much a strong Christian. So as you might think, this was a bit awkward for the children. I have lived with my mom all my upbringing, so I got a very atheistic mindset. However, when I was 16 to 17 years old, I thought to myself, I cannot say no to anything that I don't know anything about. So I went to a church to study what the Bible was saying, actually. And when I got there, I studied a few months. They held up a paper and showed me what their beliefs were. But I was like, what? Where are the references? Why don't we open up the Bible? During all these months, we had never opened up the Bible once. So I ended up leaving that church because if you know anything about writing scientific literature, and you know that you need a lot of references, I was looking for the source. I was looking to understand what the Bible had to say, not what people had to say. It took me a year till I started my search again. I was now 18 years old, and this time I was studying with a guy from Dad's church. And we sat down, started reading the Bible, and I was just very arrogant. I was very prideful, and I questioned everything that he said and that the Bible said. And I ended up leaving yet again, but this time because of me. Another year passed, and I moved to Dad's place because now I was starting university. I was starting to study ethology and animal welfare in Uppsala. So to better get by with the trains, I moved to his place, and I just started noticing something about his relationship with his wife and just how loving they were to each other. We know that it is in conflict that we show each other if we truly love one another. My dad and his wife, they each week sat down on a Saturday and just asked each other a very humble and loving question. What can I do to improve? What was it that I did this week that hurt you? And until that point, every week, they would be forgiving of each other, they would be loving each other, and it was barely noticed that they had conflict. This is just one of the many loving principles that they had, though. And I became very impressed. It was, and remains to this day, the best example that I have of a loving relationship. And so I just asked them, what made this relationship like it is? What are you basing this on? What gave you these principles? And they both answered the Bible. I became very fascinated with how practical the Bible could be, and the way that they were basing their relationship off of this 2,000-year-old book. And so I was intrigued and wanted to know more. How could this book make them such loving people? Upon this, I started to ask myself the question, Dad is a scientist, and he's a medical doctor. How could he believe what it says in the Bible? So, since I knew it worked in his life, and saw that he was practicing it, I now started to ask myself the question, how practical is the Bible? Could you look at it through a scientific perspective? I also knew that I had so many faults. I was not doing well with my schoolwork, I was prideful, and I was arrogant. So I wanted to follow something perfect, someone perfect. So I gave the Bible a new chance, and I went back to studying with the same guy that I had been studying with before. And this all on top of asking a new question. How is it right rather than how is it wrong? I began to ask questions rather than questioning. And it was actually at that point that I began to understand, finally. I also understood during this time that the Bible is actually a piece of literature written for people 2,000 years ago. They did not have the same technology that we have or know the things that we know today. But it doesn't mean that they were wrong in their belief. I'd seen that the Bible works practically. Now I just needed to know how. In everything, I began to ask the question, what if God exists? I started to practice the Bible, and that was when things really started fitting into place. For so long, I just wanted Jesus to be a guy 2,000 years ago that was just some wise dude, someone that you could learn something from today, but he's so much more than that. And the evidence began to mount. The practices worked. The scientific evidence that I found, they were too much to ignore. And I just, wow, it was overwhelming. Now Jesus, he makes some very bold claims. In John 14, verse 6, he says that he is the way, the truth, and the life. I mean, who says something like that about themselves? Wow. I was taken aback, and to me, it came down to three different options. Either he's lying, or he's crazy, or he's telling the truth. If he's lying, then the principles of the Bible are they're based on lies, and I don't want to follow that. So I could then just throw the whole thing away. But if he's crazy, well, why would anyone want to follow a crazy man? So I could just, again, throw the whole thing away. But if he's telling the truth, it is the most important thing in my life. Everyone in the church that I now went to, they were practicing the Bible, and it was visible through their love, their relationships. I wanted to have what they had. The things that Jesus said had a great impact, and I ended up with a very simple question. Is there something that I can do in my life that is better than what he is saying? And the answer to my own question was a resounding no. So I ended up being a Christian. I ended up getting baptized almost 1 year ago. And now I'm sitting here with you, talking about it. And I can honestly tell you, it is the best decision that I have ever made in my entire life. If I was to simplify the Bible for you, I would say it is about relationships. However, the Bible works everywhere. You can use it in your studies, use it at the work, you can use it in your relationships, and you can use it when parenting. It works everywhere, and I can tell you that just from having been a Christian for a year, a little less even. So, what is the important thing that I wanted to tell you? If this is true, this is the most important thing of our lives. And just from having gone from an atheist myself to a Christian in a few weeks' time, I can honestly tell you that just give it a shot. Come here, ask your questions, read the Bible, see what importance it actually has today. I'm going to make a bold claim like Jesus. I have found the meaning of life, and it is love. Would you like to come and join me? Thank you for taking the time to listen in. Now, if you are like me a year ago and have an interest in reading the Bible or want to find out what it is about, come and attend one of our events. There are every Thursday Bible discussions, church services every Sunday with special themed services once every month. See you there.